Hello and welcome to WP. Well, they've been championing Indigenous issues in WA, fighting to eliminate the problems facing our nation's First People. Mervyn Eads and Megan Cracker have been highlighting the concerns of Aboriginal people, including Black Lives Matter, fighting for their people to be recognised. This week they talk about their year in the fight for change and push next year to have Indigenous issues recognised in the run-up to the state election.
This year must be a game changer for you lot.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan, for your time. And yeah, it is a big game changer for our mob. And looking at the Black Lives Matter movement and that across the country, the COVID, we've had a funny old year, but it brought to highlight lots of issues to do with our mob, the First Nations people in this country, and it brought it to light what happened to Mr. Floyd in America, shone a light what's been happening here for 230 years and continues to happen today.
What are the positive achievements for this year, especially when it comes to Black Lives Matter?
The most positive achievement of Black Lives Matter was that it came to the forefront and it was spoken about and talked about, and it's not just some black people saying, oh, poor old me. It's real, and it happens not only in this country, it happens across the world to all multicultural people and all people with different skin. May they be Asian, may they be African, may they be First Nations Australia. It doesn't really matter, because we all wear the brunt of racism and the systemic racism from the crown down.
What's your hopes for 2021?
My hope for 2021 is that suicide awareness is on par with suicide prevention. It's certainly not at this point. My hope also, mandatory sentencing laws, they're done away with, to give the judges the power, so forth, to determine the fate of a person after the third incident. Also for the bail law in Western Australia, for that to be changed. For the incarceration, that to be reduced, and basically for it to lead to systemic repair, so to speak. There's some of the big things, and it'll also houses to be built in Western Australia for our people. There's some of the big ticket items for me in terms of going forward and hopefully making a substantive change, because what I'm saying is that there is a big division between the haves and the have-nots. The classism very much is prevalent in Western Australia, and in terms of the have-nots, a lot of our brothers and sisters, black, white and brown, who fall below the poverty line, we're still being left behind. So the grim reality very much needs to be spoken about, and who better to speak about it than the families themselves. So what I'm hoping for is the elevations, the escalations of our people out in our community who's affected by some of these really traumatic issues, whether it be suicide, whether it be poverty, whether it be homelessness, whether it be children being removed, for their voices be heard, listened to, and basically taking that next step in terms of formation and of different policies and legislations. If it's going to impact on us mob, we need to be part of that conversation.
And now, here's AMA WA President Dr Andrew Miller with a COVID-19 update and commentary before Christmas.
Hi from the AMA WA family, the wider AMA family, the medical community, the hospitals, the GP clinics, the aged care, particularly the aged care workers, the people within our system who don't have direct clinical roles, but they're administrators or they're managers or they're bureaucrats. From our system to the rest of the community, just want to take a moment at the end of this very unusual year to say thank you to all those people who have been inconvenienced, put themselves out of their own normal life in order to help handle something that would normally just be a health crisis. Really appreciate the outpouring of kindness, of compassion, of putting other people first that has been demonstrated in our community this year. We appreciate the actions of the government in closing the borders down. That has been our most successful strategy in terms of keeping this disease to an extremely controllable level, because what we're seeing around the world is that societies that are arrogant enough to think that they can have a bit of COVID and just get on with their normal life, unfortunately get brought to heel very quickly by this disease. Some sobering news as we head into Christmas from the UK that there may be a more easily spread version of the virus around. I wouldn't worry about that too much yet. I think we need to keep a watching brief on it and see whether this is just the numbers that they're seeing and the ease of airborne spread. Unfortunately, we got off to a slow start because the World Health Organization didn't think that this respiratory virus was spread via the airborne route. They thought it was only droplets and so on. And various experts have reluctantly swung around to the view that yes, it is indeed airborne, and therefore we need to take different kinds of precautions and think of it more like cigarette smoke than like spray. So I'm hoping for 2021 that Australia's going to get really well geared up with protection against what is a respiratory airborne illness. So that will mean really professional level PPE, and it will mean ventilation to a large degree, and also greater distancing from other people, because if this thing can linger in the air like cigarette smoke does, then we've got all sorts of problems with indoor venues. So not to focus too much on the negative, but on the positives of what we've seen out of humanity in the last year. We have seen people in the United States vote for a scientific approach and for looking after their fellow man. And I think that is a hopeful thing. People in all nations have reached out to help those around them. So in the great Aussie spirit of leave no one behind, I look forward to a 2021 after we've had a little bit of a break, some of us, with our families, during which we'll reflect on those who are still at work and how they put themselves in harm's way by going in every day to look after people in primary health care, in aged care, in hospitals, in rehab care, paramedics, police officers, frontline staff in essential retail, all of those things. We really appreciate what we do. Medicine for me has always been about the intersection between compassion and science and truth. So truth is something we need to really emphasise as we go into 2021. We must base all of our decisions on either a really good research or a really good theory, which is based in the truth. So whilst there'll be a lot of pretenders who try to tell us that the virus isn't real or the vaccines aren't important or the disease isn't that bad, I'm grateful that our political leaders haven't bought into that to any significant degree. So let's enjoy our good fortune here in Western Australia. Let's celebrate all of the things that make this country great and that bring us together as families. And if you have a religion, then I wish you all the best in that as well. And love from my family to each of yours. Thanks for your time this year. Look forward to trying to keep this community safe again, 2021.
Dr. Andrew Miller there. And that is the final Western Perspective for 2020. Thanks for joining us all year. WP will be back in January, but for the final time this year, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Nelson, and well done to you too. And Ivan, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Sarah. As many of you know, I rarely make a commentary, but I will make an exception this time. 2020 is coming to a close, and I just want to say we couldn't have done it without you. Every single one of you. From you, the viewer, to our small but effective team, to the newsmakers, the decision makers that have opened their doors to share their stories and hardships with us. Thank you. With the trust you have given us, we've returned with many exclusive stories that have made you stand up and take notice. We were the first media to report and confirm that at least 6 Western Australians were trapped in Wuhan at the beginning of this pandemic. Various other exclusive stories related to the pandemic followed. During the daily live press conferences, I've realized that you have many questions. So what I've decided to do immediately was to ask them on your behalf as you watched and commented. Hundreds of you responded daily, urging us to ask more, and we did. Apart from COVID, we also live streamed the BLM rally in Perth, follow-up issues regarding the First Nations people, to the coverage on the future of Fremantle Port, and unveiled the Bowling Club lease debate in Melville. We have followed and keep digging every step of the way. As a result of your trust, this year WAMN News Online have reached a record 2 million people for 2020, most of them in WA, 4.5 million video views, and a record engagement of more than 750,000 people in the month of March. What an extraordinary achievement this is for everybody, especially to you who have chosen to make the switch to WAMN News. Though it's been a stormy year, this little independent news service have weathered the tempest, and with your support every step of the way has come out stronger and better than ever. And on behalf of the WAMN News team, we give thanks to you, and we will achieve even more together in 2021.
And that's our final weekly news and current affairs for 2020. Thanks again for your support this year. You can always read the latest stories on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
A regular news service will return from the 12th of January, and Sunday evening news and WP program will return from the 17th of January. Until then, from Sarah and myself, we wish you have a safe Christmas. As always, wish you good health and good night.
See you next year. Take care.